We have a crazy morning. Crazy morning.
In the middle of a cough, no big deal. I'm dying.
The
announcement killed me.
Right. I was trying to. We did tell them to pause the game, that way you guys don't miss any more of the action.
Yeah, we didn't miss too much.
Right, we didn't miss too much. But like I said, there was a miscommunication, and that's why we took you guys from the promo. The promo and the announcement's going to be playing all day. Anytime we're in between rounds and things like that.
Yeah, we're going to be playing that. We also have some other stuff to play, so we'll keep you guys entertained as much as we can. Are you entertained?
Right. Yeah, we know we had some feedback about, wanting to see the games more of the game, even if it starts, even if we're still changing names and stuff like that. So that's why you see like me trying to fix all that while the game is going on. And as requested a lot yesterday, and people asking, yes, we do have George Machado on for you guys.
Yes.
He's playing a spicy Android deck from what I'm hearing.
Which is so cool. I love androids. I love this way to awaken too with this Frieza. It's such a cool card to awaken with because it essentially does what Gohan does.
Right.
Except it doesn't attack your opponent. But you really don't want, as an Android player, you don't want to attack your opponent too much.
Right.
Because it gives them a way to profitably get rid of cards in their hands.
Absolutely.
Right. If they sniff it out, they're like, okay, I see what you're doing. You're playing androids. There's a big chance you're playing Cell.
You get to be a bit more secretive with just playing Frieza and grabbing your cards. Right. It doesn't reveal your game plan. Like back in the day with Green Red Androids, when people are just like Kaba, you're like, okay, you're trying to copy me as much problem and then just Cell chain.
Yeah,
I get it.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah, absolutely. And so what this lets you do is to do the same thing, but with your leader. So you can attack with your leader, combo with it, do 15k that way. It's a little bit safer.
Right.
And it's also good against defense against Sword.
Absolutely.
So I like it. I like the
and
double
I
uses.
think as far as this matchup is concerned, I think androids are favored in this matchup against Janemba.
Oh, you think so? Okay.
Yeah. From what I've heard from other Janemba players, they're saying they're definitely not looking forward to android matchups.
Okay.
Because they could end up cell chaining you, and there goes all your mill targets.
So as a mill player, also I'm sorry, Alexis Mendez is the player on the left playing Janemba mill. Sorry, I forgot to introduce him. As the mill player, you sat down. What matchups do you think you're looking to play against? What do you think matchups do you think they're favored against?
They're favored against any Wish Leader, for sure.
Right.
Because Wish Leaders tend to draw, especially Shenron, they tend to draw a lot of their deck. Think about it. Typically, I believe, in a regular deck, after you draw cards and add life, I think you have 36 cards left in your deck, whereas a Wish Leader is going to have the same amount at the start, but they're essentially going to remove 14 cards from that. So you actually start with 24 cards after you get your Dragon Balls out with Shenron.
Okay.
So 24 cards, that's essentially 12 turns, but obviously you're not going to have 12 turns. But when you start doing multiple, your leader attack, and then you start playing Reality Bender, and you're doing mill 6, mill 8, those turns start to cut down. And I've seen Shenron decks consistently lose in turn 3 and 4.
That makes sense because you have 7 cards in your deck that you want to get out as fast as possible. Plus those 7 cards draw you 7 more cards. Exactly. That's 14 cards already. Not to mention just drawing for the turn and other things. So that makes sense. Also, I think Hercule's a pretty good matchup because they draw so many. Did I say it right this time?
Yeah.
Did I say it right this time?
I think you did.
Okay. Well, we'll say yeah. But yeah, so they get to draw so many cards as well. So all right, so let's get to the action here. We have our Janemba player playing out the 1-drop. This lets him look for the Janemba chain. He gets to keep searching for the Janemba. Now, I'm not sure if he runs. Actually, we have the deck list in front of us. I keep forgetting. See if he runs the 3-drop.
Most Janemba,
actually his
Childish Heart Janemba.
There it is. Yep.
He runs it at 4.
He actually runs 4 of them. Well, a lot of players have been cutting that card. They've been cutting card, even Sokka, even the 1-drop, they've been cutting it as well.
I've seen
more defense.
If you're not focused on just the mill aspect, you cut out that engine. But if you're going for more, if you're not focused, if you're going for more of a control aspect, you cut out that engine. But if you're going for a straight mill, I think this engine is more favored for the mill because you get to establish the body that allows you to evolve. So you get to start playing these Janembas out sooner and milling your opponent sooner.
Yeah, I also think this gives you a pretty good match. I always like 1-drops against aggro decks because it gives you that value card that lets you combo and survive, like we just saw.
And the other cool thing about this Frieza, and forgive me for not knowing the name, so the easiest way I can find it in this case is going to put Frieza 1-drop green because it's probably the only one in existence. Infernal Emperor Frieza. This card is a 1-drop 10k. Like that, kind of not reminiscent, but cohesive with something like a Bardock, the Progenitor. I remember we were like crazy about 1-drop 10ks, and he essentially does the same thing. He just doesn't have swap. Yeah,
what I love about this card, and we talked about it before, is it's so versatile in the Android list. It still awakens you, which is great. It takes Gohan's place.
Yes.
But it's also an attacker on its own, especially when your opponent's unawakened, which is fantastic. And the third thing it does that I love so much is it doesn't die to other 1-drops. So you can attack in, for 10,000 like he's doing now, like George is doing now. But anyway, you can attack into leaders like they are now. for 10,000, and then it's really hard for them to attack back, right? So like, obviously Janemba can kill one, but you can easily save it if you want to. But the more important thing is one drops can't kill it, right? So they can't attack it with like their boo and kill you. You know, they can't attack it with their sakes and kill you. You know what I mean? Or they can with Gohan.
And I think, I mean, obviously the advantage Janemba does have in this moment is that Janemba likes to make you mill without giving you cards as well. So having targets to attack in this moment is very important. Machado actually playing out the Dark Power Black Mask Saiyan. I'm not sure, not assuming people don't know, but some people get confused. They think that card actually does help in the Janemba matchup. It does absolutely nothing. All of Janemba's play effects are all activate mains, and he only targets autos. So, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I remember I had a friend, he was like, oh, this would be great against Janemba. And I was like, literally nothing gets played off of an auto. I was like, it's all activate mains.
Yep.
And it has to be a non-keyword skill, activate main being a keyword. Oh, but we're seeing a awe-inspiring Vegito being played out here.
Such a frustrating card to play against. But this is the best time to play against it.
Sure.
Our Janemba player can't awaken yet, so he can't raise 2 energy. So having to defend Vegito at no energy is much easier. It's much harder for the Janemba player than it is obviously when they have more energy open. Now, what I expect to see here is a Dimension Magic come out on the first attack, ready into knock our Janemba player from 5 life to 4. So perfect awaken rage, and he'll have some open energy to be able to defend this Vegito.
Exactly.
But as an Android player, this is the better time. Now, what's also really cool is since George is playing the actual Android leaders and not like Super 17 or something like that, his cards all get buffed. They all get 5,000 more power, which does help against the Vegito.
Yeah, I do. I prefer, if I were to play Androids again, because I know some people are like, they're degenerate, they're not spicy. I think Androids are a little bit more skill-based now. Yes, absolutely. They do have access to Cell Chain, but they don't feel so linear like they used to. That was my biggest issue. And as I said, that Cell Chain comes out, asking you shall receive. But I do like it within this leader over Super 17. Before we continue talking about the cards, though, can we talk about this mat? It may not be a leader that people play.
Let me tell you right now, chat is going insane about the mat. Yeah. And I'm not sure, but this is like a top 32 only mat, or is this just like I don't see that it says
I think
Ultra
it
Pro
is.
in the mats,
You can double check if you go on to the DBS -cardgame.com and you look at the pricing listed for nationals. I think you can exactly find what this is listed as, and I think you're right. I think it is the top 32.
That's sick. That's sick. That's sick.
So we're seeing the evolving evil life form Cell.
Yeah, no target, unfortunately, but
because of that great keyword everyone loves, barrier.
Yeah, barrier.
That was not sarcasm. I don't hate barrier, but yeah, it is powerful. And there's the absorption of the 18. Cell Chain commences.
Now our Janemba player does have 2 Mafubas in hand. Looks like he does still thinking about keeping those 2 cards, or maybe that's the cards he's ditching. But Mafuba very good against the Android list.
Yes, and this is a matter of, you know, this is where those veteran plays come in. You know, you have to understand what's going to be the most valuable, because if you ditch everything but Mafuba, you're ditching your engine to potentially defend against, you know, these cards. What would you say would be the best? Like, what would you do, Dusty, if you were in this situation?
Usually whenever I play against the Cell Chain, and I get Cell Chain, there's 3 cards I like to keep. A way to stop the Cell attack.
Sure.
So a negate. A card to deal with the Cell.
Yep.
So a kill card. And then a way to recover from the Cell Chain itself.
Right.
So a card that draws me cards, whether that be, you know, the Android 17 that draws you back up to 4, whether it be the red Gohan that, you know, if you have 4 less cards, draw 2, whatever card it could be. Chain Tag Zeno is another great thing to keep. Just something to deal with the chain and repair yourself from it.
That's right.
And a way to stop the attack.
Okay.
Because a lot of times what good Android players will do is they'll do what George is doing here. They'll knock you to 5, and then they'll attack you with Cell and knock you from 5 to 3.
Exactly. And Alexis is actually going to deny that by using the Dimension Magic.
Yep.
As we know, he does have Mafuba in hand, so this is going to open up an opportunity for him to Mafuba the Cell, and I think we're about to see that here right now.
Mafuba the Cell is such a great play for a couple reasons, especially in this list, against George's list. Now, George does run the Super 17 combo.
Sure.
So he runs like the 6-drop that when it attacks, you have to discard 2 cards.
Exactly.
Now, that card requires Sparking 10. A lot of people forget about that.
Right.
So, Mafubing the Cell is a way to get to deal with it, but also stop the cards from going to drop and activating Sparking.
Right. That was the other thing that made the Super 17 chain so cool, was that it allowed it to where things like this, where if you're an Android player, nothing was more frustrating than, you got the Cell Chain off, but then you did nothing with it because it was immediately blown up.
Right.
The Super 17 chain allows you to gain value off of losing your Cell.
Yeah, it's why I like Sparking a lot. It's also why the Android lists got a lot better since Overwhelm came out as well.
Right.
Because when that 7-drop died, it just fueled your Overwhelm.
Exactly.
You know, it just gave you another free card, which was super cool.
So here we see the Demon Sword Janemba being played. This is actually the Janemba card that activate main, send to bottom of deck, and you get to warp out a card. Unfortunately, I wish he had access to a different negate except for Mafuba, so he could have warped out the cell. Granted, you know, other cell targets would have still been in a drop, but it's another cool way to try to force a deny to the Super 17 chain. There you see another mill effect happening off of that Demon Sword Janemba, and now he's going to swing in with awe-inspiring Vegito, seemingly at Jordan Machado's Android leader.
Yep.
I can't tell if George is at 3 or 4. I think he's at 4.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it's 4. You can see the little corner of the card right there.
Oh, yeah. Actually, great observation. So that he is down to 3 now.
All right, Janemba attacking in for 15,000 into 15,000 here. Draws a card for
now,
the attack.
Neat thing to keep in mind, guys. Once again, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but that Janemba leader does have access to a negate through the timing of an auto. And that is very important that you understand that it's an auto timing, so it does not happen in counter timing. So if in any case, I've seen situations like, just to give you an example, attack, negate, I attack them or something like that. Yeah, they negate, I battering, and then they go, okay, cool, and then they just activate his auto to negate the attack anyway.
Right.
Understanding timings is very important, so you can do things like
that. It is.
I
mean, Janemba's front side, and this is, back side. This is something that came up, I think, between you and when you and Zap were commentating.
Yeah.
Where the negate is an auto and not a negate, so it doesn't happen at the same time.
Right. So Series 5 definitely introduced a lot of different interactions like that we never had before. So of course it was a topic of discussion, and you saw a lot of things being posted pre-nationals from LGS interactions that were happening. People were like, what does this do? How does this work? And you know, it's just a matter of that's why it's important to really know the game. You know, not maybe to the caliber of a judge, but enough so that you can handle these interactions properly and fairly.
All right, looks like George is going to play down his 4-drop Android 17 blocker. Love this dude.
Such a great addition to the Android deck.
It is. It's a 3-cost 25k barrier blocker that kills something when it comes into play. Pretty good for 3 energy.
Absolutely.
Not too bad. But he's going to attack in 25 into Vegito here.
Interesting.
And be able to restand it.
With the Twin Sister Android 18. That is what she's called, right? Twin Sister?
Yeah, Twin Sister. Yep. Twin Sister. Yeah, Twin Sister, you discard a card and you can restand a 17, and then Twin Brother lets you discard a card and restand an 18.
Exactly. And what's really cool about that, not to cut you off,
no,
my apologies. He got to ditch the Super 17 that I think he can also pull from his drop area with the Hellfighter 17, so it all works out.
Yep.
And I think that's why Machado is calling his list particularly different, because not many people run Twin Sister.
Yeah, I know they don't. And I think something that's kind of interesting is that he does favor Twin Sister. Actually, in the list I've been playing, I actually favor Twin Brother to keep restanding the Android 18 Deadly Defender card. Because it's a 25k. So you can attack 25k, attack with Twin Brother, restand, and you can keep doing that. And if it dies, you can still use it to, if your Twin Brother dies, you can still use it for that Super 17 combo, because the first chain needs an Android 17.
Sure.
But Twin Sister, Twin Brother, I think just very underutilized cards.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very, very good cards. That's what the Janemba player responds with here. Just another mill card.
Another Demon Sword. Yeah, I mean, like I said, we saw that one drop. We saw the Childish Janemba. So this is clearly focusing on milling you. That's its goal. It's not really focused on your life, which is why I think Machado most likely mulliganed for those freezes, because he knew once I start putting bodies on board, Janemba is not going to attack me. He's going to attack into my battle cards, because he still achieves what he wants to achieve. Yeah,
one thing that's that I really like about George's list is it's not trying to be too cute. It's just taking advantage of the powerful Android cards, right? These Android cards, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, are just powerful on their own.
Sure.
Like we talked about, a 3-cost 25k barrier blocker is just good, and it takes over the game. So what George is doing, he's not running a bunch of discard, he's not running the discard super combos.
Right.
He's just running the Piccolo super combos that give him value. And he's just saying, I'm going to play out these really powerful cards and stay alive and kill you with them.
Honestly, what it seems like, and correct my terminology if I'm wrong, it seems more of a, I guess you could say, a tempo droid deck, or maybe a control droid.
Yeah, like a mid-range.
That's fair. Okay, mid-range.
Yeah, essentially you're playing 3 drops, 4 drops, and you're hoping that just the power of those cards wins the games.
Yeah.
They're usually too powerful for aggro to get around.
Sure.
And they're strong enough to kill control before they can get going.
Yeah.
See what George does here with 6 energy.
Yeah, droids, you don't want them having this much energy. They're scary once they have 3 or 4, but 6 energy is just a lot to work with.
There's so much they can do.
And that's why people saw value in the Super 17, because they was like, if I can get to this stage in the game and then still restand too, restanding in droids is just insane. That's why you saw green-blue androids back in Union Force kind of doing something, because Sensu being on something like a Android 16 was really annoying.
Absolutely.
I remember one time I double beamed him and swung over somebody's entire board, because people forgot that it's when he KOs a card. They were just assuming when he's attacked into and revenge triggers, he restands. No, when he KOs a card.
Right.
So he just, so it's really interesting to see all the different droid decks.
All right, here's 20,000 to 15,000. Twin Sister 18 into Janemba. He does discard a card. I like that. That's, again, a piece to his combo, though. That's the starter piece, so it's not going to help too much. And taking our Janemba hero to 1.
See, what's scary here is that, and now Machado seeing that he's able, he actually using the Janemba auto negate.
He had a negate, and George hasn't played anything yet. Oh, another twin. He just picked it up.
That's a scoop
it. He
up.
said, no, mercy, please don't attack me.
I honestly, once again, never been a huge Android fan as far as
I love
the decks.
Always have.
But now, and especially seeing this list from Machado, I love it.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, George is playing this list more mid-range, which I really like. And he's just using cards like the Cell Chain just to, help. There's good cards, first of all. You don't have to be a hand destruction deck to run Cell Chain. Right. And I think George is displaying that here. You just run Cell Chain to get your, to disrupt your opponent. And you just play good cards and say, can you deal with this 2 cost 20k? Can you deal with this 2 cost 20k? How about this 3 cost 25k?
And what about this barrier blocker 20k that I'm standing now with Twin Sisters?
Can you deal with that? Multiple attacks, multiple times? No? Okay, well then I got you. You know what I mean?
That's fine. How about another Twin Sister? Let me just give you this.
And if he's playing against opponents that can recover from the Cell Chain, then he has the Super 17 to just keep disrupting their hands. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's a very balanced list for what androids can do. He's not going all in on hand destruction. He's also not going all in on droids either. He is going to hitting that happy medium.
Exactly, and we're seeing both players siding. I'm actually more curious of what Machado is siding, considering he took that game 1 so commanding. What do you think he's siding for a Janemba matchup that would maybe even swing it more into his favor?
I'm sorry, what was that?
What do you think Machado is siding for this Janemba matchup? Because he took game 1 so commandingly.
Right.
What would you think he feels would be even better?
Well, against the Janemba list, there's a couple things. And again, I can't quite read his handwriting here, but it looks like in the sideboard he has Destined Krillin. That's the free blocker.
Yes.
Not really going to be that great in the Janemba mirror. In the Janemba matchup. It's more for more aggro-based matchups. But what I think he'll bring in is at least the King Vegeta surprise attack.
Sure.
Such a great card.
Absolutely.
For multiple reasons. Well, what's up? Hey, so I like King Vegeta's surprise attack for multiple reasons. It's a great way to deal with Vegito. Vegito has to attack. So if you play Deli Defender, you play it out.
Sure.
And you attack.
Yeah.
Their Vegito now has to attack into Deli Defender 18.
Yes.
You can King Vegeta's surprise attack and kill it. And so it's a very efficient way to kill. One of Janemba's main ways of staying alive. Next up, you have expanding in energy Android 17. That's the blocker that can restand.
Sure.
It's a decent card. Yeah. Right? It's a decent card. It's nice that it's a more defensive card. And actually, no, expanding energy is the
one. The 5-drop.
They grant you back. Right. They grant you back cards. Decent card. Just a powerful mid-range card.
I actually ran this card in a blue-green Soul Striker way back when, because I simply would just dump my hand on the previous attack and then swing with this guy to get 4 more cards, and it was just a lot of pressure.
Yeah, but it looks like from just quickly looking through his list, and they're getting ready to play again. It looks like his sideboard's mostly dedicated to living through aggro.
Right.
I do like the Analyza, though. He does have a combo killer Analyza,
which is really cool.
Which is very good in this matchup.
Yes.
Very, very good. I mean, very often our Janemba player is going to use combos to try to keep their Vegetos and stuff alive. Right. It just makes them nag even more, especially once you've already hit their hand.
Right. I think the card that you mentioned that was probably the MVP of that side deck in this case is King Vegeta Surprise Attack.
Absolutely.
Having a friend who does play Janemba, he ran right into that card. He almost forgot that card existed.
Yes.
So they don't get to trigger their Janemba effects at all. So it's very important into siding that in for Janemba.
Right, absolutely. Now, as far as Janemba goes, they have some great sideboard options too. In fact, our Janemba player's sideboard is insane. He has so many different cards. He's running Cronoas. I can't read all these cards.
Yeah, it looks like he's doing Dende, new to the job. He's doing a Time Control Kanoa, Toki Toki Time Creator, Legendary Flutes, Group Leader Pilaf, Pilaf being a great card, Zeno Button.
Group Leader Pilaf is an interesting choice because, and I don't think George will fall into this trap, but he could. And it's what it allows you to do is if your leader attacks with the 5-drop,
yeah,
you can Pilaf in and take away Union
and take away Union Absorb.
Also, Zeno Button, pretty good in this matchup too. Gives him more energy to survive these multiple attacks.
Right.
Wouldn't be a bad sideboard as well. Raging Spirit, Sun Gohan. And
I wouldn't play it since I saw that Machado was playing Dark Power Black Mass Saiyan. I would not side in that Gohan. Yeah.
And then Hitting Power.
Hidden Power East. Is that the East Kai?
I think it's East Kai. I think it's the 1-drop. I think it's right. No, it's not. No, it's not. Hidden Power East Kai.
I think that might be. That's not the. Is that the new Champa?
I think so.
Let's see. Hidden Power East Kai. Yeah, the double striker.
Okay.
So just maybe just to put some of that because he has critical targets in his deck.
Just give you a little bit. Actually, it wouldn't be bad including this.
Not at all. But I do think the best side there would probably be Group Leader Peel-Off in case Machado does happen to
it's
make
also, it's also good against other stuff, too. Remember, you can take away Barrier from it as well, so that is a ruling that went through. So you could use it to take away Barrier from some of these cards as well.
And what's cool about the Dark Power Black Mass Saiyan, it does act as another way for Machado to self-awaken. And I think he was deciding whether he should do attack right there, and he chose not to. Maybe didn't see the early Friezas that he saw in Game 1.
Yeah.
I thought Pilaf has to target attacking battle card, not any battle card. Yeah, no, he means that if Machado were to go into the 5-drop, sometimes some Android players like to attack with the 5-drop first.
Right, because that way they can discard the 2 cards they give you.
Yeah, they give you the 2 cards off of that double strike, and then they Union Absorb. But he's saying if Machado does choose to do that, if Alexis has Pilaf in hand, he could then target Union Absorb on the attacking cell.
Yeah, it's not a trap I expect George to fall into.
Right.
But it is something that can happen.
It could just be just a brief moment of absent-mindedness where it's just like I'm so focused on what I'm trying to do, I forgot that this card is a thing.
And the only reason I don't expect George,
he didn't see a Game 1, like you said.
But one thing that is really important to remember, guys, is that players get to see each other's deck lists.
Right.
So George knows that card is in sideboard.
That's
so
fair.
It's definitely one of those cards where he'll probably play around it a lot more Game 2 than Game 1. Daily Defender.
Daily Defender immediately into rest mode. Not by way of a pressure ball, but just by way of immediately swinging.
Absolutely.
So it looks like Machado going with a different play style here. Obviously not finding his early self-awakening tools. Not choosing to play the Dark Power Black Mass Saiyan. Probably because, like you said, he knows Raging Spirit's Gohan is in Alexis' side. So he's like, maybe he makes a mistake of having it in his hand, and now that card is dead. So it's a matter of knowing your opponent's side, putting pressure that may or may not be there, and then once you have enough information to realize that it's not, he may start attacking with the Dark Power.
Right. What's really important to notice here is that attacking with Mass Saiyan turn 1 or turn 2 doesn't do anything for you unless you have another way to awaken in hand. Right. So unless you have 2 in hand or that plus Frieza, it doesn't really do anything. But it does do something for you being out on the field, which is very unique, where like Gohans and stuff don't. So.
I have not seen that, but that would be really funny. If somebody did that to me after Mafuba, I would definitely be their best friend.
Table 2, Malcolm Bright and Carlos Medrano.
So there we see another Demon Sword Janemba. Oh, never mind. That was amazing. I don't know why that was funny.
Yes. So, yeah, players do get to see each other's deck lists. It starts in top 32, and what it's for is because if, let's pretend like George was on stream and Alexis wasn't, it wouldn't be fair to George because Alexis could go back to the hotel, watch George's match, and then know every card, or not every card maybe, but the majority of George's deck, and then have an advantage in top 32.
Absolutely.
And so to make it fair, they just show everyone's deck list to make sure. So not saying that players would do that. It's just
just in case
to protect the integrity of the event.
So we see that actually George has a 5-drop cell in his energy, and then he just had to mill one off of Janemba's effect. He did choose to protect the Deadly Defender, and I think it's because he does in fact have King Vegeta surprise attack in hand. So he's hoping Alexis continues to attack with those Janembas, because if he does, he'll lose it and he doesn't have to mill as much.
Pretty big play here by Alexis. He actually used the Janemba to kill the Mass Saiyan, which is going to stop him from playing, and then could play out the Gohan.
Right.
So very smooth sequencing of turns or plays here to allow Alexis to actually play this Gohan out of hand.
So you see here, ooh, I'm wondering Why would Machado not swing with Deadly Defender here?
Um,
You know why? I bet you it's because he doesn't have any other
Ways to
self-awakening
protect it?
cards. Well, not even that. Ways to protect it.
you're right. Yeah, absolutely.
He doesn't. He wants the only target to be himself.
Right. Absolutely. No, absolutely why he didn't attack. Yeah, I'm so sorry. Yeah, no, that's masterful play by George and masterful commentating from my boy Marcus here to actually call
you know,
that out.
honestly, the reason why is because I've made that mistake. I get so happy that I have Vegito. I'm like, swing, and I'm playing Soul Strike, and I go, I don't have any self-awakening
Yeah,
cards.
this is terrible, actually. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And what's actually great about Android 18 is that, like with Vegeta, you kind of have to attack,
right,
so it doesn't get killed. But she has barrier regardless if she attacks or not. So
right.
that's very, very smart play. This is why I keep you around.
I do what I can. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'm not the greatest, but
what? You're fantastic.
Other times I'm the best.
You're amazing. Amazing.
So look at that. Actually, Alexis choosing not to attack with Janemba. So all we saw was a 4-drop Vegito come down and swing into leader. George took it, and then that was it. So here we go, Awaken for George. So definitely able to reestablish hand simply because of that heads-up play. And I just want to reiterate how important that little play George did last turn, which was a whole lot of nothing. He played out his Frieza and passed turn.
And that's why I try to explain to a lot of players, too. Becoming a great player is just understanding the game.
Yes.
Just understanding the basic mechanics of the game, understanding what all your cards do, finding a deck that you like to play and that you can master. But what makes you a top-tier player is just game sense. Just making little plays like that add up over the course of a match that make you win. And, I mean, I just didn't think of that play at all. I never would think about it. I see 18, I want to attack with her every time. That's what she does, right?
Right.
He does have the King Vegeta surprise attack in hands.
Oh, yeah. He's definitely in a better place than he was 2 turns ago. He's going to be able to pressure this Vegito. Because the +5 doesn't happen until he's at 4, obviously. But
what's so cool about this play, and if I was George, I might actually do it. I might just combo my my Frieza to go 25.
Okay.
To feint that I'm trying to kill it.
Right.
Right. You get an extra card from your opponent's hand because it's 25. So for him to to save it, he'd have to use a big card like a super combo or. And then if he does, then you just kill off King Vegeta surprise at the next turn. So you get more value from your opponent. George doing the same thing by forcing Alexis to actually have to use Kami to stop it.
Exactly.
So he's going to get so much value out of this.
So I want to explain it, just a pet peeve of mine. Because George as a player, he does it, and a lot of people do it. But in a community that everyone's always like rules this or rules that. Fun fact, and let's see if you know this or agree or whatever. From my understanding with this game, you're actually supposed to put the battle card on the table first before tapping your energy.
I'll tell you something I do in Magic, and what I always do is I'll tap my mana, and then I'll take my mana and put it in the middle of the table, and then play the card on top of it. So they know I'm using this much for this card. Right. I try to do that in this game, and it took me a while to break it. But because you use cards out of your hand, it looks shady. It looks like you're trying to so I've actually struggled with it a lot in this game because I'm like you. I like to play my card out and make sure my opponent knows what I'm using energy for. And I haven't found a good way to do it. But I think, like you said, playing it out first.
Because for me, it's something. Because what made me think of it is Machado did the thing where he tapped 2 and then he untapped it. For me, I'm just like putting the card on the table first is saying I commit to this. Now I'm going to pay cost. Now also, if you think about counter timings for like things like Bloodlust, when you play the card, declaring to play the card is where Bloodlust comes in. Right. And then you pay the cost to say this is now a blank card that I'm paying for. Right. And that's how the rule books be. So it's nothing against Machado. It's just something he did that I, even at locals, I try to tell people like, hey, could you play the card first? Because they're just going to have better interactions with their opponents, especially at a higher level play.
Well, actually, and I think anytime you're learning a card game or playing a card game, you should read the card as much as possible. So you should, like for example, when you awaken, what do you do first? Do you flip the card over first or do you draw first?
Ooh, he actually did swing the Vegito into Deadly Defender and met King Vegeta.
He has to because he's in a terrible spot there. Because if he doesn't attack, then George actually gets even more value. Right. Because George can just play, 18 blocker or even Cell Chain and just kill it for free anyway. Right. So it puts, Alexis in this no-win situation, which is what we talked about in the sideboarding.
But I guess you would rather your Vegito run into this card as opposed to one of your Janemba cards.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just something you're going to have to deal with. I mean, if he has it, he has it. You can't play around it because George can hold that card infinitely.
Of course. It was one of those things like with Bloodlust, when Bloodlust was like really dominating the format, I would tell a lot of friends of mine, it's silly to not play the card because you think it's going to get Bloodlust because that's just more Bloodlust he has later. Oh, and there's that Hellfire 17, I think it's Evil Revive? Oh, no. Oh, yeah.
He's killing that. I love this card right here. This is, you have to pay 4 to go up again.
Yeah.
But that's okay. It does have barrier, right?
Yes, this card has, I think, deflect and barrier.
Yeah, that's the 3-drop. Then he evolved into the 4-drop.
Yeah. Oh, the 4-drop. Yeah. So this is the 3-drop, and then the 4-drop.
That's for free. You get for free. It's
Super
so
17.
Good.
Try to remember. Further Heights.
Yeah, Further Heights. Yeah, it has barrier too, right?
Yep.
Yeah. What's cool, it has barrier, double strike, and also it can't be negated, which is so. No, actually, no.
No, this is not the
promo.
Yeah.
It's the promo.
The promo is one that can't be negated, but this is the one that has the Union Absorb. This one actually, when it comes out, it does pop a card too.
Yeah,
so
it does. It does.
Very nice.
It doesn't draw you a card like Cell, but it still kills a card. It has deflect and barrier.
Yeah, it's basically the second stage of Super 17, but like you said, it doesn't draw a card like the Evolving Life Form. But in the next turn, because this has barrier, this isn't going nowhere. This is an easy tap 4 to absorb one of the cells that Janemba probably already made him mill, and he can go into the Super 17 cell absorb, which is a very critical card.
And honestly, he doesn't even have to do it next turn.
He doesn't.
Just threatening that ability just puts Alexis in a really terrible spot.
Yeah.
Because like unless he has a Mafuba hand, that's at least 2. I mean, at least 2 cards he has to discard when that card comes out. If he Mafubas, that's only 2, but it could be up to 4.
Right.
And that's just devastating for these control decks. They don't want to lose 4 cards out of their hand.
Not at all.
Not that any deck wants to, but I mean, control in particular really needs those cards to stab off this droid infestation. All right, so here's 20,000. Knocking Alexis to 3. George still at 6. That means these droids aren't going to get the 5k buff.
I think Machado feels like he's in a comfortable spot to where he's just so ahead in life, and having access to something like Cell Chain and seeing how many cards are still in his deck, because Alexis did have a turn or two where he did not attack, which somebody had mentioned in the chat, and I do agree. I don't see why you would do that in a mill deck. It kind of defeats the purpose of the deck. You know?
Okay.
That's like, I'm playing Cell Chain, but I'm never going to use it.
Right.
You know, like attack, even if it means you're attacking into Deadly Defender to not KO it, but to at least force your opponent to mill and disrupt their ratios.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, there might be also another reason why George is moving more towards the Super 17. It could be he just knows that his pieces aren't there.
Right.
You know, he's just like, all right, I'm just going to have to go the other route. I don't think Cell Chain is needed to win this matchup at all. I think just, like I said, I think this matchup is one.
It's not. I think Alexis already has like. Oh no, he does have a couple cards in hand.
I actually think that's why Alexis is just not attacking. I think he's just like, okay, you know what? Like, if I attack him, I'm only making his battle card stronger.
That's fair.
And he doesn't have to attack.
And I think Machado's purposely leaving cards. He's not attacking with anything that stays up. So heads up play by Machado yet again. And yeah, it looks like he did see all of his 5 drops. He just charged another one.
Yeah.
So his Cell Chain is dead. Yeah. But the Super 17 chain is never dead. It's always live, which is really cool.
Ooh, George taking a second here to think about maybe not attacking with the leader. It looks like George still has plenty of cards on deck, though, so it doesn't look like he's quite to the spot where he might be checking. But actually, he might be about ready to count his deck to see if it's efficient to attack with his leader or not.
He also has to consider Mafuba here. Mafuba onto the 17 card, though it would still trigger, and that's still like 3 cards out of Alexis' hand.
Yeah, it's 2. Well, I guess 3 because of the Mafuba itself.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I always tend to count the card that they use.
What do we get right here? Oh, another 5 drop.
He does have a. Oh, so the last one.
He's gonna kill Combi. I like that play. No, what George has to try to figure out right here is, does he want to play around another Combi? So
I don't think.
So how many Combis does our Janemba player have in deck?
Either, but here's the thing: if he manages to,
he has 3.
If he manages to complete the chain, which it looks like he can, are you really going to keep Kami in Alexis' situation, or are you going to keep things that are going to handle this? Because now he can next turn. He doesn't even have to attack Alexis, right? He can next turn tap 4, go into Super 17, and then you're in a world of hurt if you're in Alexis' case.
He wins at that point.
Right.
Absolutely. I like that George is trying to force. What George it looks like he's going to do here is he's going to force a Mafuba on the Cell Chain.
Sure.
And that way he can safely go towards Super 17. But I think you just combo the blocker. You combo the 3-drop 17.
I was going to say, attack with Deadly Defender.
Because you don't want to get blown out by a top deck Combi or something stupid, right?
That's
you
fair.
just want to make. This is the top 32. You got to play as safe as possible.
So at this point, Alexis is not going to want to go into double strike range, so he's going to most likely. And yeah, here it is. So I'm going to tell you. I think I'm going to tell you why Machado chose to combo on this attack. This is an option where Alexis didn't negate, and what he's probably afraid of is, I have 4 cards. Alexis could use a very smart negate on my next attack to prevent me from comboing out this card. So I should combo it now.
Okay.
That way, I don't try to attack with Deadly Defender, and then I'm stuck with 4 cards to walk into a Kami. Because once again, something I've done.
Yeah, if I was George, I would attack with the Cell Chain last. I think actually getting your Deadly Defender here, Mafuba, is fine. It's a good target for Mafuba, so it's not impossible that it's not unrealistic that Alexis would choose to Mafuba that card. And if you can just bait it out, then you're
the guillotine. Kami gets over barrier. He blows up everything.
Yes. In your own stuff.
Yeah, including your own card. The person using Kami. Their battle area.
And I do think that aggro players play around Kami a little too much, and we saw that happen with the veggies. The deck that
he actually took the cell attack, going down to 1.
Go to 1.
Say it again. I'm sorry.
No. I think aggro players play around Kami a little too much.
Right.
Because getting your board wiped as aggro, it stinks, but it's very recoverable most of the time.
Right.
Now with George here, though, if his board gets wiped, he loses his combo piece into Super 17. So it's much more important that George plays around Kami if possible.
And look at George putting on some pressure here, because this is a 20, 25, 30, I believe. Because she doesn't have the additional 5, but she's already 20 on his turn.
Right.
So that's a 30K attack, forcing
30K.
Alexis to use some cards out of his hand. And big important cards too. Pseudo combos, 2 pseudo combos, and a super combo. Those are definitely big to get out of the hand now when you know you're going for game next turn.
Yeah, and Alexis is just, is nowhere near killing George from either mill or life.
Right.
And so I'm afraid he's in this spot where George is going to evolve next turn, and like I said, unless he has a Mafuba, it's going to be pretty devastating.
Honestly, seeing George play this weekend and seeing him play right now on stream, he's just so it's seemingly ahead of the curve and very knowledgeable of his matchups. Definitely a top candidate, since all of our other candidates are now not in the top 32.
Right.
A new candidate for sure to see in the finals.
He's the owner of one of the best teams. Actually, I would dare to say the best team.
Right.
They dominate not only this game but a lot of other games.
Right.
Great playtesting team, great group of people.
Absolutely.
And George's a fantastic person. I work very closely with him in a lot of different situations, and just the nicest person you can ever talk to, and very passionate about the game. So that's key one, right?
One of the first videos I ever saw of Dragon Ball, Machado was in it, and he was like super excited with set 1, opening a bunch of boxes.
Absolutely. And you're never going to be good at a game unless you love it, because the amount of work and time and effort it takes to get to this level, you have to love what you do. You have to.
And George letting the Deadly Defender, which I didn't play the animation. I'm so sorry. I'm not. I was actually trying to keep up with life, really. I want top 32 to be just like pristine.
So to answer chat, what game do they dominate? Eric Christensen, who's also in top 32, is actually a Yu-Gi-Oh! National champion. So if he wins this event, he'll be a national champion of 2 different games. Right. And actually, in the most recent Cardfight Vanguard events, PBG put up, I think it was 6 of top 8.
Sure. Yeah.
So just a great group of guys, like I said.
Honestly, there is a potential that they might have missed Mill on that last attack. I don't know if that's something you want to double check with. I do not remember seeing Machado Mill on the last attack into Deadly Defender.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But then again, it was into Deadly Defender, and he still has other cards that are on top, so I think he did mill, actually. Because if he didn't mill, we would see Deadly Defender at the top of the drop. Because he didn't protect it, so where would that other Hellfighter come from?
Yeah, he milled. Okay.
Yeah, he definitely milled.
Like I said, we have like 3 judges on them, so it's very unlikely they're going to miss a trigger like that. But thank you, chat. Please keep us on our toes. Let us know if you guys see something.
What's up, Cyber Evo, by the way? That's Richie.
Oh, Richie, what's up, my man?
I just punched the mic, and it got really sad. I went to point at Cyber Evo's name, guys, and I hit the mic, and it just went,
Yeah, it's like, why do you hate me? Richie, wish you were here, man. We miss you. Absolutely. Oh, there it is. There's the evolve. Okay.
Oh.
Now, what's so awesome here is that George is doing this, and Alexis only had one blew up. So that means
so
George
he's
is
going to get the full value of this, even if his target's Mafuba.
And now Alexis only has 2 cards in hand.
Yeah, the next swing is going to get. This is game. There's nothing he can do. He swings no matter what happens.
I mean, I guess he could Mafuba.
Oh, well, Vegito is. I didn't even notice the Vegito on board, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but he has no cards now. So all he has to do is attack into Vegito, kill with Cell, and then attack with Leader, and he wins.
Yeah.
I mean, he has no cards.
How did the Vegito not? Oh, he negated the second attack.
Oh, wow. Dan Barnes in chat saying that Eric Christensen, one of our top 32 competitors, is actually the first and only person to go undefeated at Swiss and undefeated in Top Cut
So
in a
win
YCS. That's insane.
That's very impressive.
Now, actually, San Jose, Eon Hill went undefeated in Swiss and Top Cut to win an event.
Sure.
We've had that happen in Drabble one time. But insane. That's crazy because YCS events are huge.
So Machado actually choosing to, I'm wondering why. I guess he just has another body to play. This is like the extra safe version of this play, I guess.
Yeah, it looks like no cards in hand.
Yeah, I'm not sure why he didn't just. Oh, so I see what he's doing. The Childish Janemba was still on the board, so he didn't want Alexis to just combo with it. So he was like, let me get an additional card off my leader swing. He probably already had Deadly Defender in hand, so he knew he had an additional attack, so he just played it super safe. And Machado taking that game.
Yeah, like I said, you just have to be very. You have to be very. Very safe. I mean, obviously George is in a position where he is not going to lose that game.
Right.
But you want to make sure you sequence correctly. I've seen players be in, actually, even in this event, we've seen players be in a commanding position, almost no way to lose, and then sequence just a little off, and then immediately lose the game.
We saw a lot of games yesterday in the later rounds where we were like, oh, this person's dominating, and then their opponent was just like, no, I'm just going to take this from you. You know, I know you felt like you were winning, but I'm just going to play this one card that really turns the tide of battle and just